and balanced state in order to access their ability to reason. Some people can live in a constant state of crisis, becoming, in a way, addicted to the stress and finding ways to trigger the release of cortisol and live in a perpetual cycle of conflict. Now, tell me that's not the reality of most of our people living in the inner city ghettos of America.
Yes, of course, and the whole idea of the environment almost looking like, in most cases, a war zone.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
I hate to call out Detroit and Baltimore, a bomb at these places, man. But anyway, very critical. 3 things that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the white man would not teach us: the science of business, the science of warfare, and the science of mating. The science of business, the science of warfare, and the science of mating. This is Professor Greg and Brother Ali on NMEMINDZ Radio, and we're talking about black parenting from the 773 area code. You got a question or comment?
Yeah, peace. This is Nahad from Chicago. I got a comment and a question. I want to comment on what Sister Zaza was saying earlier about being more compassionate, being more loving. A couple years ago, I volunteered at a school on the south side of Chicago, like 7th to 8th grade boys, and it was just like some after school, whatever, help you with your homework. But I was just surprised at like how far little stuff went. Like when I seen them, I was like, "Hey, what's up? How was your day?" And they look at me like, "What you mean?" Like, I mean, how was your day? What you do? And they was like, I got this home. They was like, "Dave, when I go home, ain't nobody there. When I wake up, ain't nobody there. Ain't nobody ask me how I'm doing. Like what I'm going through, how's my day? None of that." So every day I seen them, I would ask all of them like, "Man, how was your day?" And I was just a volunteer, so I'm like, I'm not a teacher. If y'all feel like you had a bad day, y'all not learning in school, just let me know. So these are like the so-called bad dudes. So they're like, "Man, I was sitting in class and we was like learning about Abraham Lincoln. Like, what that dude got to do with me? Like, I live in the hood, you know what I mean? Just all type of stuff they're just coming out of. And it's just like just some simple stuff like ask them how their day was, what was they thinking, what was they going through, and this little stuff like that I think that we could all do, especially when it comes to the children, you know what I mean? Because I think sometimes everybody's like, "Oh man, what's the big answer? What can we all do?" Well, we can all do little stuff like that. Just be a little bit more compassionate, be a little more loving, more caring. I guess my question would be, I don't have any children, but I got friends who do have children, so I don't really know how rough it is, but like in terms of like beatings and whoopings, do you feel like we should feel like our children like that?
Man, I'm still No, I'm only playing. But listen.
No, that's a good question. Thank you so much, brother, for asking that. That is a very good question.
Zaza, you gotta take that one.
I'm just gonna tell you, when I was coming up, I saw my cousin. His father used to beat him, and when I say beat him, he used to do it in front of us. He used to make him stand up against the wall, and he would just punch him. And we would all be watching, and 14 years old. And I see brothers now, when they interact with their children, it's like there's a fine line between, a spanking or a whooping and child abuse. And some of these brothers are like really, really, really abusing their children, not just brothers, but women too. It's like we're walking around time bombs ticking in a world where, it's like we are always on edge, and then we take all of that anger and anxiety back home and take it out on our children. Now, I've even caught myself before. Yes, I do whoop my son, but I've caught myself before, like where I had to kind of reel myself in because I was angry and upset about other things that were happening, and it was coming out in how I was interacting with my son. So I would say that if we were more emotionally and spiritually and nurturing, just involved in that way with our children, that we would need to spank them and whoop them less. But I also think that, you spare the rod, you spoil the child. Some of them, sometimes they just need their little butts whipped just to get back in, to come back to the middle. But if you are not emotionally sound, if you're not, you know what I'm saying, right within yourself, you're not going to be able to administer that punishment without, being borderline abusive. So it's just, I think it's the process of discernment, and we have people that know parents that are abusing their children and aren't saying anything. If you know somebody that's abusing a child, like really physically abusing their child, and you don't intervene, at least try to say something about it, you're complicit in that.
Right.
But I definitely think, and George DeGrue also talks about that in the book, how we are abusing our children, like really physically abusing these children, and then they turn into abusers when they get older. So it's a real fine line, brother. I'm a mother, and I can't sit here and say, no, don't whoop your child, because with my son, I don't do it. I don't have to do it a lot because we have, a good relationship. But sometimes it just gets out of hand.
Right. And if I could make one more comment earlier, Zaza, you gave some statistics about, I think you were saying like 1 in 3 black female children are like molested.
Molested, 1 in 6 boys. Mm-hmm.
Right. I was just going to say, in terms of like compassion, I know we're dealing with children, but even for the older brothers like myself, like I'm 26, I think that like when we deal with each other, like the sisters and stuff like this, I know we want to go to the club and turn up and all that other stuff, but I mean, stuff like that is real. Like I know a couple of lady friends who've been, molested. And it's like, when I sit down and talk to them, it's like, oh yeah, well I went through a phase where, I didn't feel like my body was my own. So I was just, out here letting everybody do what they wanted to do. And I mean, I got a mother. I got a sister. I wouldn't want that happening. So I'm just saying, like, sometimes for the brothers, like, we meet these sisters who seem like, oh, they just a good time. I don't know what they done been through. You know what I mean?
Right.
So might want to just slow up a little bit, just really try to process it and take it all in. Because like I said, we all got mothers, sisters, aunties, and at the end of the day, we wouldn't want nobody, you know what I mean, just treating them like whatever.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. We need to hear our men say that more. Thank you so much for saying that. That really means a lot.
No problem.
All right,
thank you, brother. We really appreciate you.
All right.
Peace.
Okay. So I'm going to read something from the Breakthrough program that no parent or teacher can afford to ignore. It's Raising Self-Reliant Children in a Self-Indulgent World. 7 building blocks for developing capable young people. But before we get into that, we're going to take on a few more calls. 404 and 904. Sit tight. Coming right back at you. I don't know where this call is coming from, but this is NMEMINDZ Blog Talk Radio Show. Grip and Zaza. What's good? Peace. Okay, I guess you're just listening. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't absolutely nothing wrong with that. All right, from the 404 area code.
But I also think that, greetings. Peace. Can you hear me? Yes, ma'am. Peace. Okay, let me turn this down. All right, greetings, Brother Griff and Sister Ali. My name is Miss Selassie, and I'm grateful that you're doing this show. I had left a message to you, Sister Ali, on the YouTube video, talking about the abuse of our children in foster homes, group homes. Because one of the last comments I heard was about whether we should be spanking our children or not. This is such a complex topic and issue. Like, I don't even know what to tackle now. I mean, you guys have been all across the board. I'm just really concerned because I just feel like we're doing it all wrong. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us are, having sex without being in committed relationships. We're not really conscious. We're not really emotionally mature, we're not going through rites of passage, I mean, like back in the day, young brothers had to come through fathers and uncles before they could even get to a young girl. I'm really concerned. Yeah, I mean, I'm really concerned. I'm in my upper 40s. I have children that are grown. It was not easy for me raising them as a single mother in Los Angeles. I was raised by a single mom in Brooklyn, New York. It's just complicated, and it's really breaking my heart. We got a lot of work to do. I mean, I have worked in group homes in Los Angeles to where I had to quit because I'm like, I don't want to earn my living, at the mercy of destroying other people's children for a paycheck. I mean, I was working at the Boys and Girls Club here. I live in Noonan, Georgia, and it's just we're going to have to talk outside of this radio show
Okay.
I had to resign. I had to resign. The children were off the chain. They were so disrespectful and so rude. And like I said, I'm getting to be an elder. I'm not going to tolerate that. You know, and it scares me because then I'm seeing, like, I'm not justifying this, but then this is what these children are not understanding. You know, don't give these people a reason to put a bullet in you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Don't give them a reason to throw you in a juvenile hall. I mean, my children were born at home, breastfed, homeschooled, and I had to be treated like I was crazy. I wasn't giving my children beef and pork and dairy because these things kept my children healthy. But it was seen as I'm neglecting them. But, I mean, we went to parks and museums and libraries and festivals. I spent time with my babies. You know, but I got caught up in the CPS drama behind spanking my son who was stealing. You know, if it was not for the autobiography of Brother Malcolm X, you know, I would have lost my mind because he broke the whole thing down. The same thing that happened to him is what feels like happened to me. His mother was a Garveyite. His mom and dad, you know what happened to his father. You know what I'm saying? She's left alone during the Depression with 7 children. You know what I'm saying? Malcolm's stealing because, you know, I guess he was feeling like, damn, you know, I want some of the things I'm seeing out here that we can't afford. My son was doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I was going to school. I was working part-time. My home was clean. My children were well taken care of. But there were things that my son wanted that either I couldn't afford or I didn't want them to have. I didn't want Sega in the house. I didn't want that distraction. You know what I'm saying? But because I came down on him, he tells a friend's mother, she calls the police. Next thing, I'm handcuffed, and I mean, oh my God, I can't even begin to get into the destruction of my family. You know, but Malcolm X went through the same thing, and his testimony is what helped me get through it. You know what I'm saying? They went through the same thing, and then they locked his mom up in the psych ward, you know, for 20-some-odd years. They didn't get to put their hands on me with that because I don't play the psych game, and you're not drugging me or nothing because I'm not crazy, you know. But this is really, really complex. I mean, to try to get our children to listen, you know, to really see what they're up against, you know, I mean, we have to really withdraw from this society almost in order to really teach them, what they're up against. Because them trying to fit in with this man, they are straight corrupting our children. Everything that you've said, Sister Ali, you know, about the feminization of the, I mean, I am so tired of this confusion of the sexes right now. You know, and them just vehemently pushing it in the public schools. It's just too much. It's too much. I would really like to read them with them.
Excuse me for cutting you off. I was just going to say that, you know, Francis Cress Welsing talks about the fact that we are not taking responsibility for our children. We're leaving them out there on their own, and they don't know how to survive in this society.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
The comment that I read from Joy DeGruy where she talked about, you know, the fact there's a chemical imbalance in our children. And then you mentioned how you reared your children to eat a certain way. Well, what about the youngsters that are eating Fritos and hot chips, soda? You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Never
all
drink
that
water.
dairy
Never
and meat. Thank you.
Exactly. What about those children? And we just stand back and fold our arms and shake our heads, and it's like, it's them. Me and Griff were talking, and it was just like, there's, you know, how some of our people just look at our youth and it's like, that's them. It's like, that's them over there.
No, they're being creative. No, we're all in it together. And they do, oh my goodness, the village comment. My sister Linda will tell you, I'm forever saying that people want to, it takes a village. Where's the village? Where's the village members at? Because I know when I was struggling with my son, oh my goodness, I called so many people and tried to contact so many different organizations, and it was like I was just being brushed off and treated like I'm blowing this out of proportion. No, I'm not. This is becoming a crisis. My son is acting out. You know what I'm saying? He's going against the grain with the family. You know, and I could see it building and building and building, and all the village members just dropped the ball. And then when I got caught up, I was out there alone. I'm like, we need to reason. I mean, I ended up working for the Citizens Commission on Human Rights because they were drugging my babies in foster care. And I ended up filing a complaint. Oh, no, this is just so deep. Okay, the senators, we went to a Senate hearing where these senators were laughing about the high numbers of children that are being misdiagnosed and placed on these mind-altering drugs that are killing our babies and driving our kids to kill each other. Okay, and then Nancy Schaefer, she was a senator here in Georgia, all right? when I was doing all this, activism for parental rights